The second chapter of the Gita opens with the statement of Sanjaya. Sanjaya says, Tam tatha kripaya vishtam, etc. To him, that is Arjuna, who was thus overwhelmed with pity and grief, and whose eyes were dimmed with tears, Krishna spoke these words. Then comes Krishna's words, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Sri Bhagavan is the name of God in that ancient Vaishnava tradition. God and His incarnation. So Supremely Blessed One is the meaning of the word Sri Bhagavan. What did Krishna say? These two verses which convey to us Krishna's words are the very gist of the Gita according to Swami Vivekananda. A message of strength, a message of heroic endeavor. So he said, in such a crisis, whence comes upon you, O Arjuna, this dejection, un-Arya-like, not at all noble, disgraceful, and contrary to the attainment of glory or heaven. And then, yield not to this type of unmanliness, O Partha, ill doth it become thee. Cast off this mean faint-heartedness, and arise, O scorcher of thine enemies. In these two verses, we can find a beautiful spiritual tonic administered by Krishna to Arjuna. Wherefrom has come this weakness upon you? It's not virtue that I see in you, but weakness. It is unmanliness. It's a powerful word of criticism. Don't be unmanly, be heroic. Then he said, this is contrary to all types of greatness and glory of man. Therefore, don't yield to this unmanliness. It doesn't become you. It's a beautiful idea. You are a hero. It doesn't become you to become weak like this. Every child can be given this message by the parents. It doesn't become you. You have such a great heritage with you. Don't misbehave like this. Don't be weak like this. That's why Naitatvai upapadyate. It doesn't befit you. It is a powerful sentiment to bring the best out of any individual. Parents telling children, teachers telling students, it doesn't befit you. You do some mischief, you do some crime, and we say it doesn't befit you. You are noble, you are great. Your action should be in accordance with that greatness. Krishna says the same thing to Arjuna, and therefore cast off this mean faint-heartedness. It is just faint-heartedness. It is weakness. You covered it with the idea it is strength. It is non-violence. It is this. Non-violence of the coward is no non-violence, says Gandhi in our time. Non-violence must be brave, courageous and strong. And therefore, cast off this mean faint-heartedness and arise, O scorcher of thine enemies. You are strong. You are not weak. Vivekananda said, this is the supreme message of the Gita. Don't run away from responsibility. Don't run away from difficulty. Face your responsibilities. As he put it in a famous lecture in England in his book on Jnana Yoga, face the brute. If you don't face the brute will chase you. You must have the courage to face the brute. That is the supreme message which the Gita is going to convey throughout its 700 verses, to strengthen man to face his responsibilities, to face the challenges of life, to make man adequate to the problems that he will have to face in the world. That is why it is a message that must come to man even from childhood, strengthening the moral fiber, the spiritual fiber, along with the food and drink and exercise, strengthening the body, and education strengthening the mind of the child. All-round strength, physical, mental, spiritual, is the message of the Bhagavad Gita, which we shall see in the succeeding verses of the second and third chapters. Fourth verse begins with Arjuna's statement. When Krishna told him, give up this mean faint-heartedness and arise, face up to your problems, Arjuna said, how can I kill in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are rather worthy to be worshipped than to be fought against? says Arjuna in the first verse, that is verse 4. And then he continues his argument. Just to protect himself from the charge of Krishna, surely it would be better even to eat the bread of beggary in this life than to slay these great-souled masters. But if I kill them even in this world, all my enjoyment of wealth and desires will be stained with blood. That's a very legitimate argument. After the tonic, Arjuna is able to speak in a more rational language, putting forth his difficulties, asking Krishna for help, which is a special significance of verse 7 coming just after the present verse 6. Indeed, I can scarcely tell which will be better, that we should conquer them or that they should conquer us. The very sons of Dhritarashtra, the enemy party, after slaying whom we should not care to leave because they were cousins, they are standing facing us in this battle. And therefore, Arjuna now puts his problem in a very more convincing manner. With my nature overpowered by weak commiseration, with a mind in confusion about what is my duty, I supplicate thee, Karpanya doshopahatas svabhavah, Prichhami tvam, I ask thee, Dharma sammuta chetah. My mind is completely confused as to what is my dharma, what is my duty at this critical hour. Yat shreyasya nishtam bruhitan me. Please tell me your own determination as to what is really to my welfare. Shishyasteham, I am your student, I am your disciple. Shadhimam, please teach me. Tvam prapannam, one who has taken refuge in you. In India they say, a teacher will not teach until a student says, please teach me. Unsought advice is never given in the world of religion in India. So commentators regard this verse as very important to induce Krishna to convey to Arjuna that profound message by which he will be able to face up to his situation and realize the highest in this very life. And so, Shishyasteham, Shadhimam, Tvam Prapannam, I am your disciple, teach me, I have taken refuge in your superior wisdom. My wisdom is overpowered by my grief and delusion. Therefore, he says further, I do not see anything to remove this sorrow which blasts my senses. Sorrow which blasts the senses. Anyone who has experienced grief will accept this beautiful description. It blasts away, burns away all our sense organs, all our power of judgment. He says, Yacchokamuchoshanam indriyanam. And then, even if I were to obtain unrivaled and flourishing dominion over the whole earth and mastery over the whole world or the gods even, I do not know how to remove this sorrow that is blasting my senses, says Arjuna. These are the beautiful words which explain to Krishna Arjuna's condition in Arjuna's own words. Then Sanjaya says, Eva muktva hrishikesham gudakesha parantapaha nayotseda govinda muktva tushnim babhuvaha. Having spoken thus to the Lord of the senses, Krishna is declared as the Lord of the senses and the scorcher of foes. He said to Govinda, he says, Gudakesha, that is Arjuna, he spoke to Krishna, that is Govinda, I shall not fight, and became silent. Nayotsya, I am not going to fight, and became silent. What did Krishna do? He looked at Arjuna and he just smiled a little. That smile coming from infinite strength within and infinite compassion for the weakness that is in front of him. Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Vishidanta Midam Vachaha. To him who was sorrowing in the midst of the two armies, Krishna, that is Rishikesha, as if smiling, spoke these beautiful words, these wonderful words, and from now onwards the real teaching of the Gita begins from verse 11 of the second chapter.